Hey, Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome back to our next episode of the How to Play Civilization 6, a tutorial for total beginners as Scythia. Is that enthusiastic enough of an intro for you guys? I really hope so. Alrighty. So where we left off, we are just about ready to get our war started. We'll probably get it started within the next 1 to 2 turns. We have our horses in position with the Great General. We have supporting units in position in the form of this warrior who will become a swordsman once I have enough iron, and this archer who is also in the supporting position, and the scout who will eventually become a skirmisher. Once we unlock the machinery technology, I will probably be getting coursers first, and then we'll dip back for machinery. Okay, so I'm going to put a mine here because this city is working this tile, and it is the best tile for the city to work because it's at its housing limit. So I will improve that tile with a mine, therefore giving this city slightly more production, which means it is slightly more efficient. We're just going to hang out with these units, waiting for the time to strike, as it were. I would really like to take this cap. Ooh, he has been debated. And there was a flood over here. Okay, so maybe I can get across here. If I kill this unit, I'm hoping that he does not take this tribal village. I will wait here and just see what happens. Those guys are going to hang out there. Alright, let me get these horsemen moved up a little bit. Another little trick, if you have, let's say I wanted to move my horsemen here and both of these units still have movement, I can just right click on the scout. Well, in theory, these guys should swap tiles, but for some reason, the game has decided that this will not work for me. Alrighty then, it works for these guys, but the horsemen, for some reason, it just decided that it was not going to work. You know what, man, sometimes the game just makes a liar out of you. You're like, this is how this works, and then you do it, and it's like, the game's like, that's not how it works. You idiot. Okay. So we're going to bring this archer down here to support, and we'll bring this one up to the north to help take this out. We're going to chop this builder out a little bit quicker. And this builder has 1 build charge left, so I'll send him up here to hopefully see if I can improve this. Now, this city could definitely make use of a granary. It is at its growth limit, which means I want to actually de-emphasize food as a resource. And so the city will deprioritize food. This is another way to achieve what I did over here by manually attaching. Once you're at your growth limit, just double click this, it'll become an X, and the city will no longer prioritize food. And let's just take a snapshot here. This is 23.1 production. Once I click this once, this becomes 18. I click it again, it becomes 24.1. So this is like the lazy way to do this system, is you just deprioritize food, and the city will prioritize anything but food. So you can see it's actually working, even though theoretically this 1 food, 1 production tile is worse than the 2 food, 1 production tile. So in theory, it would be more efficient to do this. Yeah. But this is the lazy way to achieve the goal. Huh. Is that 20 turns to a loss? Yeah. So this would be slightly more efficient, but it achieves the same ends, and I can just lock in then the tiles that I want, and then I turn this off. So it was choosing to work the thing here. And you know what? I kind of agree with that, because that would give me a little bit of extra gold and a little bit of extra production. So I will leave this the way it is, and then I will turn off this preference, and now I have the sort of preference locked in, but if I do get extra housing, my city won't be like saying, no, I don't want to grow. So that's kind of a way to get around the... So let me kind of re-explain that. So this is the layout when I say that food is of equal value to everything else, and obviously food is not of equal value to everything else because every surplus food that we get is multiplied by 0.5. So what we want to do is we want to tell the city that we're not interested in food right now, and then we can lock in the tiles that are of value, like these ones, and then lock this in. And then we turn this off so that when we do eventually build this granary that we're planning, the city will have more housing, and it won't just keep saying that, oh, you know what, food isn't actually that much worth it. And any new citizens to grow will go work those things. Right? Hopefully that makes sense. But we will have to go ahead and manually deal with the city once the granary is built. And that's always something you want to do when you build any sort of building that has housing or food in it. You're going to want to double check and make sure that everything is hunky-dory. So I'm going to do something a little bit unorthodox. I'm going to run to the south and then block with this warrior so that this warrior can't get to this scout, so my scout will be able to get out safe. We got our second great general. Now I could send this up here and convert. This is also great for scouting where barbarians are. You can kind of see based on Boudica's ability, you can see where the barbs are, right? I know there's barbs up here as well. I know there's one over here. Kind of a handy little side effect. Now, we can always build a kurgan if we need the food. So let's go ahead and plop a farm in there. And plop a farm in there. And then we'll bring you over here to get ready to chop another builder out so we can finish this area off. Because we want to get the 6 farms for feudalism to get this boost. Because that represents a significant amount of culture. And I think this turn, we will declare the war. Now, generally speaking, you are going to want to denounce your opponent before you declare war on him. But it can be helpful to just do a surprise war just as well. You can also do something like, if you have joint wars enabled, I could talk to the Ottomans, for example, and be like, hey, do you want to go for a joint war? Like, I declare friendship with the Ottomans, and then I say, hey, you want to do a joint war? But in this case, I think a surprise war works equally well. So we will declare a surprise war. It's also worth it to just check your empire to make sure there's no scouts from the enemy running around who might steal your workers and settlers and stuff like that. But I think this should be a perfectly acceptable thing. And one thing to know about the catapult unit is that catapults have a really strong preference for not shooting units. That's something you can play around. And now, the thing about this catapult is it actually has a pretty high defense strength, so I don't want to let it get into this city. So I want to try and hit it with as many people as possible. So what I'm going to do here is you can see the flanking +4 down here. I want to get more of my units positioned near this unit in order to get that flanking bonus up to +6. So now we'll do way more damage to this unit. So in this case, I'm going to attack with this guy, and then I will attack with this guy. There we go, we got the kill. By killing a unit near a great general for the first time, you get some era score. And then I'm going to attack this guy with my other cavalry, or other horsemen, and then we'll bring these guys up to the front line. This archer is going to hang out here. It is it's on a hill, overlooking some forest, so it should be able to reasonably defend this area. This scout is not quite ready for fighting. This warrior is almost ready to fight. And I will bring up my second great general. Great generals no longer stack, which is kind of sad because they used to stack. And it looks like a spearman was built in that city. And so what happened was what I was kind of expecting to happen was that this archer would step towards and try to shoot my warriors. So we're just going to retreat from this barb camp and let the barbarians hurt themselves on Istanbul. And we'll just lick our wounds and then see if we can come back and clean that up. I could alternatively make my way down to help in this war. So now what we want to do is we want to try and get a surround on this city to put it under siege. This icon right here tells you that the city is under siege and that it will no longer recover health every turn. So we'll just get you tidied up. Now, we also want to make a decision. Do we want to pillage here? Well, we are about to get the raid policy, so it could be worth it to pillage here. It looks like if you hover over this, you can see that it has a shrine in it. So I will go ahead and pillage that and then wait a turn. We'll bring you around. We want to get as much surface area on attacking the city as possible. This way they can't get any units out or anything like that. I also stole a builder, which is handy. I'll be able to send them back to help me out. So I think what we're going to do is we want to attack. So this is an important concept here. Attacking across the river gives the city a river defense bonus. You can see down here, it'll appear roughly about here on the screen. The +5 from river defense. And it's also getting a +9 from a spearman. So this is actually where we don't want to attack the city from. And you can see it's the same sort of thing from this guy. But these guys, the city is only 32 strength. So what we want to do is, in order to maximize the amount of damage we do to the city, we want to attack with the units that aren't attacking across the river and aren't wounded first, so that we bring down the combat strength of the city. See, when I attack the city, its health goes down. And then you can see here the damaged district is actually bringing down the combat strength of this city so that we can do more damage to it. I could, in theory, take this city this turn, but I'm going to just heal for a turn because I want to get another pillage on this district because I don't plan to do anything with holy sites, so I think it's a perfectly reasonable thing to just pillage them and then forget about them because I don't get any benefits from religion and it's worth more to me to just have faith in the bank rather than some useless district hanging around. You're hanging out there. Alrighty. I'll pop you onto that hill. Alright, so a chariot appeared to try and save the city. My troops are merely passing by. I'm running away, actually. Not entirely true that I'm just passing by. Let's take a turn to heal on both of these guys. Bring that builder towards my lines. And now I can safely take the city. Let's make sure we get the pillage off. Are there any other tiles that I would like to pillage? I think this mine here is definitely pillageable for the 122 gold, which will help fuel my army. And I think that's really the only thing left to pillage. So pillaging, it can be very valuable. You don't always want to pillage, but it can be something that will enhance your economy while at war. So we have taken the city, and now we have to deal with the fact that we took the city. So let's go ahead and click over here, and we will be keeping the city because it is his capital. Part of our win condition of this game. So now we need to click on this icon here and see that the city has a minus 3.3 loyalty net penalty. So what we're going to do is we are actually going to grab Victor. Since we're done building our army for now, we're going to move him over to Anchor Thom, and this will stabilize the loyalty in this city. And also, once he's established, because we took the garrison commander bonus, any other cities within 8 tiles, or is it 10 tiles? I can't remember off the top of my head. 9 tiles will also receive +4 loyalty, which is half the value of a normal governor. And we can just clean up this guy because we have all that combat bonus from the Great General and all that sort of other wonderful stuff. So now that we've taken the city, we want to figure out what we want to do with it. I mean, we could build units in here, we could do all sorts of stuff. I think what I like to do is to prioritize repairing things that have been already damaged. For example, the monument here. It would only take 4 turns to repair if you compare that to ancient walls, and this would immediately get this city in the direction of producing more for my empire, so I'm getting more of a benefit from it. And you can see my archer who is positioned on this hill. This is like a very small, like mild optimization thing. I should be able to shoot down anyone who's trying to like make way up here to reinforce with this archer, who is well placed to be a nuisance. We'll go ahead and just throw down a mine here. That'll mean this tile in here becomes way more workable than that tile. Alrighty, I'm pretty happy with this layout so far. I would like a little bit of extra experience on my scout. So the scout came up and popped me. Awesome, we've completed the commercial hub with an adjacency of 4 or more. So now we definitely have a golden age secured. And we can plug in... Since we no longer need that gold, we finished the commercial hub, we can now plug in the raid card, which means we will get quite a bit more stuff. I actually am not building any horses, so I don't need that one either. And we can plug in whatever we want. So how about we plug in... We could go settling again, now that we are established. Now that we've established a war party, we could go back to settling in my capital city. Reassign Magnus over there. And get another promotion from defensive tactics, which is towards feudalism, which is where we want to go anyway. So we pick up defensive tactics because we can't get mercenaries without defensive tactics, which will give us a governor promotion, which means by the time we start finishing a couple of settlers in here. As you can see, this city is so productive that it's able to build them pretty quick. I'm going to go ahead and now that the city is housing, it just finished a granary. I'm going to go ahead and get another builder because there's quite a bit of stuff I need to do in here. And I'm going to unlock all of these tiles to see if there's anything worth doing. I'm going to say prioritize food, so unlock that. These are all highly workable tiles. We have a good surplus of food. This only lowers how fast the city grows by 1 turn, but it also gives me 2 extra production compared to this tile for 1 food, so I think that's a good trade. This is a good spread of tiles to work. We got the commercial hub in here, and so we have a few options with regards to what we want to do with this city. And there is a nice farm triangle over here for this city. For later on to help it grow up to its 7th pop. We could certainly work on something like that. We could also, since the city is at its maximum pop, we could choose to get a settler in here while we're building up our capital for that boost. Now we have another envoy. We're going to take the suzerainty of Valletta. There we go. And part of the reason why I wanted to take that suzerainty is because now that I pillaged this holy site, I have a bunch of faith in the bank. And if I look at Valletta, they allow me to purchase things with faith. So, for example, I could come in here and I could purchase, well, the city has everything it wants, but I could purchase a watermill. Or in Cool Oba, I could purchase some of these things, which would make this city way more productive. It's already at its growth limit, right? It's already at its growth limit, so I could get a granary and a monument in here and give this city the potential to continue to grow and expand rather rapidly and allow it to be an important part of my empire. So I think we will go ahead and do that. Since this is a frontline city and we want it to be a high population to provide loyalty pressure on our conquest, it will provide loyalty pressure to any city within 10 tiles of it, so that's pretty good. We'll go ahead and grab that monument. And then we'll also grab the granary. So now the city can grow, and it'll also expand its borders a little bit quicker, which means not only will it grow more population, it'll grow 2 more tiles that it can actually work, which is always a great deal. We also managed to nab a couple of builder charges. So for example, I could slap down a pasture here, which would give this city a little bit of production. I think that's always worth doing. Speeds this up significantly. And these guys really want to become swordsmen, but I haven't unlocked that yet. I should have maybe stopped off for swordsmen, but we're going to be picking it up when we go for machinery after this to get our support units. Let us plan this out. We'll be going for engineering because we want to build an aqueduct for the boost towards military engineering into machinery. Alright, so we've taken our first city. Now that we have, because we stored up all those promotions, what we can do is we can be hyper aggressive and move towards our enemy and then take the promotion. I really like going for either of these. This can be good. It's really kind of situational. Just look at the map and say, are there things that are worth me pillaging? So for example, if I look through this guy's lands, there's not a whole lot of pillageable tiles. So you could make the argument that Corsairs is better here because the flanking bonus being doubled means that these units are effectively just better by a significant margin. Now, something worth keeping in mind is if you do not have a unit garrisoned in an occupied city, it will have a penalty, or rather you'll be missing a bonus. You can see here, a garrisoned unit during occupation is worth 8. So that's how you keep your cities loyal. Always make sure you have garrison units to follow up with. We'll take that promotion. We want these guys to be nice and healed up for the next city capture. Bring our great general up. We could do some damage, but we will not. And my archer over here is going to prioritize killing their archer because that's the big threat unit. Scouts are not scary. Always try to prioritize the threats. And then I'm going to bring this warrior up for the purpose of taking over being the garrison of this city, right? So then I free up another one of my actual useful units, which is a horseman. Now, if I needed era score, I would place the Kurgan, but I don't, so I'm just going to place the farm. And I would prefer to work the farm over that. And so now I'm going to use my little bit of gold to buy this tile to chop out another builder, which will be done in 1 turn. And then I will chop this marsh, which will force the city to grow, which means I'll be able to place my 3rd district. I haven't actually placed my 2nd district, and I kind of want to place it on this sheep tile because it's a +4. A really nice sheep tile to place it on. It is next to a volcano, which is a bit of a downside. We're not actually going to build that yet, but just having it as an option. And I'm also, just for people asking who are wondering why I'm not going for any wonders, I'm just not going for wonders to show you that you don't actually need to go for any wonders to win the game. Wonders are like sort of bonuses, I guess. They're extra things that you can do that might help you win the game. This is really bad. So I'm going to go to the hill. I will get hit by the archer, but I won't get hit by anything else. And then I'm going to try to retreat through the city to safety. And I'm hoping that that will work. We are going to harvest the marsh. Oh, shoot. I forgot to get irrigation. Irrigation, that's important enough to divert from castles. So I will. And we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need one more builder in order to fully complete this city. The 6 farms, rather. We will shoot you. And then the scout will clear and we'll get a bit of gold and some era score. We don't need the era score. I could have maybe kept that barb camp around if I wanted to get era score later. It's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. Let's see if we can't get a full surround on this city. We won't be able to put the city under siege because one of the tiles is a water tile, which means we would need a boat here to put the city under siege. But we can get it pretty well reasonably surrounded and easy to take on. Now that I have a unit in position to take over this city garrisoning, I can pull this unit out. But I don't actually need it right now, because I can only attack with this many units anyway. This should be a relatively easy kill. 2 hits should do the job. Excellent. And I prioritized hitting with units that already had promotion so that I could save the health on the health of the promotion of this guy. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and click the button. Typically, I would say keep the cities. There are situations where you want to raise the cities, but that's kind of like an in-depth thing. I'm pretty sure this is just a keeper. It's not going to be a problem. And again, we just want to go ahead and repair the things that are damaged because they are the lowest value, highest return, or the lowest lowest cost, highest return of all the items on the construction list, right? I've got our archer in position. I'll bring this great general over to make friends with this archer. The second archer is coming up for support. And this builder is... let's see, do I want to do a commercial hub? I wouldn't mind doing a commercial hub like in this city. The alternative could be... Let's kind of talk about what we need. We have basically the army we need to kill the AI. So I don't think I need another encampment. Really what I need is just gold to upgrade my army. So perhaps I will place the commercial hub right here. Because it gets that nice river adjacency, but I won't finish it, I'll work on the campus. And that's another thing you want to be doing as a player, is just looking out for cities when they are at a multiple of 3. And what I mean by that is a multiple of 3 plus 1. Well, no. How do I describe this better? A multiple of 3. A multiple of 3 plus 1. Or some number times 3 plus 1. So, for example, 0 times 3 plus 1 is 1. 1 times 3 plus 1 is 4. 2 times 3 plus 1 is 7, right? Because every time that a city reaches that population level, you can place a district. And the really important thing here is if you hover over the production cost of the district, it says base cost 54. That's like the cost at the very start of the game. As you research technologies, the cost of districts increases. You can see down there in the bottom, it says cost 141. That's because as the game has gotten later on, districts are more expensive to build. However, if I place this district down, and even if I don't build it, the price of this stays locked in at the price when you placed it. So that's why that's a very valuable thing to do. And we could do the same sort of thing over here in Berserk. For example, I could take this commercial hub and place it. This is a little bit of a scarier proposition because this city doesn't actually have enough tiles for the population it has. So I would maybe want to get a monument in here before I did that. But, you know, I'll still do it for the purpose of showing it off. Then I'm going to go ahead and just throw down a mine, right? Just trying to get little bits of value here and there where I can. Okay, he wants to buy some of my resources. I'll do mutual open borders and take a bit of his cash. That's fine. You can have some resources. I don't need to upgrade my swordsman for a while, right? Because... Did I not move him into the iron mine? I could have sworn that I did that thing. Maybe I did not do that thing. That was probably just like a mistake. I'm pretty sure I talked about moving him and then just didn't do it. So, you know, that's just me being a dum-dum. So we can see that the loyalty in here is fine. Let's pull this unit out and the loyalty is still fine. So we don't actually need a garrison unit in here. It would be nice to have a garrison unit in here because it will just increase the loyalty. But there's not a whole lot of pressure from other cities causing me problems, so we'll just go ahead and move our army on. And there's not a whole lot of logic to how you position your army against the AI. Oh, potentially a free settler here. And now we're going to move our archers into kill positions to provide us with support for our horses. And up here we finished repairing the monument, I believe. We'll get to work on repairing the watermill. The guy's going to take over guarding that. And we are waiting for irrigation to harvest that. You guys are... so there's a little bit of a question as to which one of these is good. Volley is more generally useful. It's going to provide you with bonuses across a various set of... instances. It's important to note, however, garrison actually works, I believe, when you're standing on an opponent's district. And I will actually try to show that off with this holy site. If your archer is going to be playing defensively and sitting inside a city, garrison is really good, and then you can pick up arrow storm volley, which means they'll be chunking. It's also good to go for garrison if you plan to use your archers to shoot cities. I kind of prefer this line because it's a little bit more generally useful, but this can be situationally extremely powerful. And this is more of a defensive archer, so I'll go ahead and take the garrison promotion. Hey.
Thousands have lived without love.
We finished our first campus, so now we have to make some decisions about what do we want to do next. Do we want to get a library? Well, the library represents +4 science here, right? And +4 science is quite a lot. Do we want the watermill? And the answer to that question is, I think we go for the library here, because the faster we get through the tech tree, the bigger the advantage our army has, the easier time we're going to have being at war. What promotion did you take? I'm not going to pillage this district for the purpose of maybe potentially showing off the benefit. Maybe I can show it off somewhere else, but I'm pretty sure that works against. Why don't I know this knowledge for certain? Like, I played this game enough. I should know that. Let's go ahead and get these guys positioned around the city in offensive placements. Now, I'm pretty sure I could take this city this turn. And I will. Didn't have any walls, and my horses were in position. And we will keep the city. This one also does not need the garrison to stay alive. Well, actually, it kind of does. But once we take this city, we'll be in really good shape. This city doesn't have anything to repair. Let's have a look at what it's working. Working reasonable tiles. So I'm going to go ahead and just tell it to get some basic infrastructure. Something that might be helpful is a commercial hub. So I'll place that down because, again, gold is a way to gold translates into an army, right? Think of production as if it were like local manufacturing. It is the local manufacturing. And then think of gold as if it is global manufacturing. It is a way to translate your productivity across your empire, because gold that can be generated in Isaac can be spent in Indra Pura, which means I can make a bunch of gold over here and then use it to improve or build an army over here. So that way, when I'm going for a kind of domination strategy in the early game, I lean hard on production. And then in the transition out of that, I start leaning hard on gold, because gold is a lot more mobile on the map, right? You can upgrade units with it. You can buy new units in other cities. You can buy builders, you can buy settlers, you can buy everything you need, you can buy with gold, and it's really highly mobile. Whereas like if I was just producing units here, I'd have to walk them all the way up to here. Whereas if I just produce a bunch of gold in this city, I can like instantly teleport or materialize a unit over here with gold. So that's kind of why I lean a little bit harder on gold. That's more of a strategic preference. You can keep leaning hard on production. So we just finished irrigation, which allows us to chop this march, which will do a couple of nice things for us. First of all, it will open up this tile to put a farm on it because we can't currently place a farm on it, but it will also force the city to grow to its 7th population. And remember, a city that has a population of a multiple of 3 plus 1, which is 3 times 2 plus 1 is 7, can place another district. So we have already placed a district. This is why this little tick is here. And the other district I might want to place is, for example, an entertainment district, because this city is going to be growing quite big, so it's going to have a lot of population. It's going to have a hard time getting amenities, especially when you're going for some kind of domination game. If I go into the amenity tab, okay, I don't have any war weariness right now, but generally speaking, the bigger cities and the cities that you have recently conquered are going to be suffering from amenity issues. I think city status is a good way to check this. There's a war weariness tab up here if you want to see what cities are having a rough time. I don't think I'm really suffering right now, so I think I will just find a place to put a commercial hub, and this looks like as good a place as any to place one. It's not quite the +3 here, but it's really being placed as a support district. And then we'll go back and finish this builder so we can build this out. I'm also going to buy this tile so that I can force growth in here again, because remember, if we force growth, we can work more tiles. Okay. I'm going to have you just hang out over here, fog busting, so no new barb camps appears behind me, because I do plan on sending settlers out. Progress towards recorded history has been boosted. Excellent. So we'll just pop in here, harvest this marsh as well, and now the city is up to 8 population. That's why marshes and jungles are really nice, because you can force population growth. Higher population means more production and more science and everything else. So let's go ahead and plop down a farm here. There is the boost towards feudalism, because I actually captured a city with 2 farms. So I could have done this a little bit more efficiently. It's fine. I'm still going to place maybe at least this farm. I might put a Kurgan here, because it will generate me gold and faith, but I think I'm just going to do a whole bunch of farms in here because that was the original plan, and we're going to stick to the plan. So right now I feel like my science income is really, really good. I need to get my gold income up higher if I'm going to actually do these courser upgrades, so I'm going to prioritize that. And similarly over here, my gold income is good enough. I would really like a granary in here if I could get it, because the city is at its growth limit. Let's go ahead and get to work on the granary. I'm going to repair the granary in here. And you're just going to hang out probably on this hill. And you'll be hanging out on that hill. Alright, so now we just go down here and capture this final city. Looks like we have a free settler situation, so this is quite handy. We'll be able to maybe settle on the silver, which will get us immediately a boost to our gold income. Which is always nice. Let's bring you down towards this city. Bring you down to here. You down to here. The reason I'm positioning here is so that I can cross this and get a better attack angle on the city next turn. Archers will move up. Great General will go to here. Usually you want to have your Great General standing underneath a unit. It's okay in this case. I don't see anything that could like snipe him, so I'm perfectly happy. They can't actually be killed, so like you don't have to worry about it. It's fine. Don't panic. So I'm going to bring you in here. You across here, so now the city is under siege. And now the Khmer are dead. Now, there is a downside to killing the Khmer. If we go check our grievances, it'll probably update next turn. And so with regards to the settler, this is more of an opportunistic move than a planned move. I just saw that the settler was here and I was like, huh, I grabbed this settler. And then I looked for where is the closest place that I can drop this settler and immediately start getting benefits. And it's likely on one of these 2 silver tiles. So I'm going to go drop him right here. And now we can start thinking about if we're going to attack the Phoenicians. And I think we will. Just take a couple of turns to get ourselves positioned for that war as well. And we'll keep that city. Up here, looking at what this city can do, it's working some pretty crappy food tiles, so I would like to maybe get a farm triangle in here to get this city to grow and be more productive. So I think a builder or two would be justified to get this up and running. In Drapura, if we just check, the first thing you always want to investigate is like, what am I doing with the city? Is like, if you're treating the city as like an individual and you're not thinking about, okay, what is my empire-wide goal? Just kind of look at the city's tiles and be like, does the city need a builder? And the answer is yes. When the city is very low population, food tiles are really valuable to work because the larger the population of the city, the more food surplus you need to grow the city. So therefore, food loses value the longer, the bigger the population of the city is. So the first couple of tiles you want to work in a city want to be high food tiles so that you can get the city to a point where it is really, really valuable. And every population means you can work another tile, which means more gold, means more production, means more science, all these other things. So you want to grow early, and then later on you want to work like value tiles. So food is really valuable at this stage of the city's development, so I'm going to prioritize working the farms. And then this is just like a really nice tile, right? 2 food, 2 production, 3 gold. That's like just a really great value tile. In terms of what I want to build in this city's infrastructure, it could be worth it to get a encampment here. I don't see a good tile to place the encampment, so I'm going to skip out on the encampment, and instead I'm going to work on something else. I will place a campus in here. I really want to put an entertainment campus, but a military encampment, but I'm not seeing a good tile. This is actually an okay spot for one. It's only a jungle that I'm crushing, and it's not really a good tile otherwise. And I'm prioritizing an encampment here because this is towards my front line with the Ottomans. So if I am producing units or purchasing units, they will be purchased down here and then sent to the Ottomans. But I think I already have the army I might need to take on the Ottomans. I have like 3 times their science, so it's unlikely they'll be able to attack me. Now again, remember, we are playing on Prince, right? Because the purpose of this is to show you like how you can chain your strategy together in a way that's meaningful. So I think it doesn't actually really matter what we build in here, but for the purpose of doing things, we'll work on builders. Now there is an argument to be made that maybe I want to delay building builders because I'm not too far from feudalism, but I'm just going to build them anyway, because the sooner I get them, the better. This city is in a similar position. It has very crappy tiles. It's very early in its development. So I will just tell this city to place a commercial hub on a low value tile like this plains tile. And then to work on a monument to get its borders to grow. More importantly, also to get its loyalty up. So we will put a farm here. And a farm here. And now once we get... This gives us a couple of benefits. First of all, it increases the amount of food in the city. Second of all, it means once we actually head towards feudalism, these will all be boosted because these are farm triangles. What is a farm triangle? I will go over this in depth more once we reach feudalism. But basically, a farm triangle is when you have 3 farms adjacent to each other. I have a farm here, and a farm here, and a farm here. And because at feudalism, if you hover over this bonus, farm improvements now gain +1 food for every 2 adjacent farm improvements. So what that means is, if I have farms in a triangle, this farm has a farm beside it. It also has this farm beside it, so this farm will get +1 food. This will become a 4 food tile. This farm also has 2 farms adjacent to it, so it'll become a 4 food tile. So by doing it this way, you can upgrade your farms from being +1 food to +2 food by placing them in triangles. And that's how you want to do most of your farming, is in triangles. This farm has a very unique position because it actually has, this is why this formation is very appealing to me, because this farm has 2 adjacent farms and another 2 adjacent farms. So this will actually be a 4 food, 1 production tile, which is really, really high value for trying to grow our city to a higher population, which is something that we want to do, right? Because we want to be able to place more districts. We might want to be able to work more tiles. The more tiles that we work, the more benefits we get. Also, eventually, we are going to maybe want to get Pengala. And Bengala's abilities give you culture and science based on the population of the city. So, you know, if you have a really big city, it means you can place Pingala with more value. So you always want to have like at least one city that you try to grow a little bit taller than the rest so that you can place Pingala in there, because that's a really valuable way to get science and culture. I actually think Pingala is like the best governor in the game, but I wanted to kind of not show you like the super hardcore optimal strategies, because I didn't want to like rob you of all of the joy of discovering how to play the game. But yeah, next episode we'll be taking on the war with Dido and hopefully explaining some of this stuff. I think we've more or less covered everything you would need to know to actually win a game of Civ 6 as a completely new player. How to discover the information that you're looking for, how to chain concepts together, how to figure out what you're going to do with your civilization. So hopefully this entire series has been showing you how you should not only like play it from a perspective of like, okay, how do I beat the game, but also from a perspective of how do I learn about the game, figure it out myself, and learn to you know, sort of enjoy the process of the puzzle solving, right? If you think about Civilization 6, it's kind of like a puzzle game, right? You have a whole bunch of tools and knobs and things that you can twist and turn and pull. And the question that the game is asking of the player is, how do you want to go about exploring this puzzle? And that's the really, really cool thing about Civ, is that right from the start of the game, I said, okay, I'm Scythia, I have all of these bonuses, I'm going to use these bonuses to do this plan. And then I looked at my situation, I said, okay, what am I going to need to execute my plan? I'm going to need a particular type of unit, so I figured out a way to efficiently get to that unit and said, okay, what are the ways that I can make these units better? So I got Victor to give them an extra promotion so that they have really good momentum. And all that sort of stuff, right? So all of these ideas chain together, and these are things you can figure out and start applying in your games. And yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I love you all very much. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.